Hello! Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Book Club. I'm so sorry about how late I put the stream up. I realized I got to the end of the stream last week and I was unsure what my plans would be today. Rail strikes set in motion, how they ended up, and yeah, we can do it as normal at 9 p.m., which was exciting. Mackie says hello. You gonna say hello, baby? Say hello to everyone. Hello. Oh, you're the most beautiful dog in the whole wide world. Everybody loves you. Everybody loves you, Mac Mac. Mackie and I are in Somerset. Oh, okay. Mackie and I are in Somerset this fine day, ready for a gig over in Taunton this evening. So that's why you've never seen this room before. I don't think any of the previous ones would have been from here. So yeah, different place. Yet again, no idea what you're talking about, Laura, as YouTube doesn't kick in. Oh, what does YouTube not do? Does it miss the beginning bit? It's usually just me rambling and saying hello. How's Tom's back? Tom's back is good. He's back to work, thank goodness. He managed to start gigging again with the noise on Sunday, which is nice. He's moving. He has written today's chapter again for me because I had to do the drive to Somerset. Oh, look at this little ween. You're so cheeky. You are. You're cheeky. What was I saying? Oh my goodness, my brain is floopy today. Yeah, so he's good. He's written today's chapter because today's we were a little bit pushed for time, weren't we, Mac? So yeah, I have no idea what's happening. And the other problem I have today is that I have forgotten my accents book. So I think I can vaguely remember everyone. But can I? That's the question, isn't it? I'm a bit worried I can't remember what Gary talks like, and I have seen the first line in Gary Features. Mackie is a baby. She's lots of babies sewn into a dog shape. Mackie is the greatest dog in town. Mackie is. Anyway, you don't need to hear that. Oh, Mac, you can't stand on my arms, baby. I need my arms for scrolling and stuff. Do you think you can sit in my lap? That would be good. No. Oh, Tom's here. Hi, Tom. You're here to apologize to everyone in advance. You don't need to apologize, probably, Tom. Although you did say in a message, Tom did say to me in a message earlier that it was a less funny, more action because you voted action. This is how behind I am this week. I haven't even counted up the votes, so I don't even know what won. So can anybody, who's going to be the first person to talk? It's Leah and Harry. Okay, so maybe we can get away without worrying about the accents for a hot minute. Oh, David, you've missed the last 2 weeks. What have I missed? David, I don't even know how to begin to describe to you what you've missed. The dog's been kidnapped. The camper van is kidnapped. The Queen was involved. They're now in a quarry. There's voicemails. Paul loved the Ninja Turtles. I mean, how do I even ever tell you that you've missed so much? Oh, I'm sorry that you're sick and stuck at home, curious echidna. Is that Hannah? I'm sorry about that, but listen, here's some nonsense for you. So we left the last chapter. Gary clicks the dictaphone, recording Leah's words, and says any last words. And then it was up to you what Leah did. So, chapter 11. Gary grinned. His question seemed to bounce around the inside of Leah's head in slow motion. Any last words? What accent was Gary? Just so I can remember. Was he Geordie? Was Gary Geordie? I think that was it, wasn't it? I think, maybe. Anyway, any last words? Her eyes flicked. Mackie, you need to. That's it. Thank you, Stephen. He was Geordie. Can you just please settle in my lap, sweetheart? Her eyes flicked from the reflected headlights, dancing along the knife in Gary's hand up to his grinning face. I forgot he had a knife. Did he have a knife or is this new? I can't remember. Did she have any last words? Leah realized that deep down she did have something she would say when her time came. But now was not that time. Ooh. Leah jerked her foot forward through the dusty, I thought that said Quorny floor then. I was picturing lots of corn nuggets, but that says quarry floor. That makes more sense. Well done, Tom. Leah jerked her foot forward through the dusty quarry floor and kicked up a cloud of grit and gravel into Gary's face. She's fighting back, lads. So she jerks her foot, kicks the dust up into his face. He cried out in shock, and Leah rushed towards the madman with a knife before anyone else had a chance to react. Don't run towards the man with the knife, Leah. She dived for his legs in a desperate tackle. She felt his weight buckle and land awkwardly on top of her, a dust cloud billowing up around them as they fell. Yeah, it's very filmic, babe. Tom loves films. It's very filmic. I love it. She punched wildly at him and tried to roll aside, but he gripped onto her with his legs. Okay, so he's like, yeah, okay. Trying to wriggle free, she turned to see the knife in his right hand swinging towards her. Then, through the billowing dust, Florence's snarling face emerged and her jaws locked down on Gary's wrist. Mackie, there's a dog in the action. Snarl, snarl. You're not much of an action dog, are you? No, okay. He let out a grunt of pain and dropped the knife. Well done, Florence. Uh, Harry's Welsh, isn't he? I'm from Wales. Leah! Harry was shouting, and he was close, obscured by the roiling debris. Ooh, roiling, good. Leah heard Florence yelp and Gary grunting in pain. Leah managed to roll out of Gary's grip and pull away. Scrambling to her knees, she glanced up to see Harry stood over Gary. Harry, Gary, and Larry. It's a bit much, this, isn't it? To see Harry stood over Gary, stamping down clumsily. Oh, Harry. Run! Harry shouted before Gary's arm snaked around his legs, tripping him into an awkward fall onto his back. I'm not leaving you, Leah screamed. Oh, yes, before climbing back onto her feet and aiming rough kicks at Gary's head. Oh, God, I don't think I physically could kick anyone in the head. As she managed to step over his sweep aimed to trip her, her foot came down onto the dropped knife. Well, hopefully the knife is on its side and she hasn't just spiked herself through the foot. As she reached for it, her heart skipped. She couldn't. Could she? Oh, could you stab someone, Mac Mac? You could. You're cold. You're cold, heartless bitch. Are you cold, heartless? No, not really. Florence was barking. She was no longer her attacking Gary. She was no longer her attacking Gary. Maybe it's just she was no longer attacking Gary. We're gonna edit that. I need to have one arm, Mac Mac. You can't have both my arms. She was no longer attacking Gary. She was a few meters away. Leah glanced for half a second to see Florence being dragged backwards by Gary's boss, still hard to make out in the glare of the headlamps. These headlamps are being very good for dramatic effect. But there was a feminine shape to the silhouette. Do you want to go down? A feminine shape to the silhouette. That's so exciting. Leah realized that she was dragging Florence to the back of the 4x4. Uh-oh. Sorry, I'm thirsty. I just had to take away curry with my parents and I put too much salt on my korma and now I'm very thirsty. Leah's attention was whipped back to the fight as the blade beneath her shoe shifted. Oh, so she still stood on the blade. Okay. Gary pulled it out from under her and scrambled towards Harry, prone on the ground. Leah stomped down on Gary's legs as he crawled, but he was undeterred. Ooh. Leah reached down onto the quarry floor and plucked up the biggest rock she could find and dived forward, slamming the stone into the back of Gary's skull. Crikey, Leah, you were a librarian like 4 days ago. Now you're decking someone with a rock in a quarry. With a wet crack, oh no, the knife slipped from his fingers, centimeters from Harry's neck. Are you okay, baby? Harry murmured, dazed. He rolled he slowly rolled over to face her and recoiled at the sight of Gary and the knife. I'm fine. I just. Leah was breathing heavily. She turned to see them. Oh no, my eyes flicked down. Oh no, oh no. Yeah, good one, Emma. Wet crack. Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that. Nice. Um, she turned to see the woman climbing into the driver's seat of the 4x4. The interior lights illuminated her features for the first time. Leah's jaw dropped. Viv? Leah stammered. It's bloody Viv, guys! From the library! My goodness, it seemed impossible. But there she was. Leah's boss from the library had just hurled her dog into the back of a 4x4 in a quarry in Wales. More than that, a man that called her boss was a murderer. More than that, she was driving right at her. Uh-oh. Leah leapt aside as the vehicle crunched through the gravel where she had just been standing. For a second, Leah thought that Viv would plough through Tim. Who the fuck is Tim? Who was Tim? Oh, was Tim? No, who was Tim? Who's Tim? Who's Tim? Who's Tim? I can't remember who Tim is. Who the fuck is Tim? Was Tim Tim was the punter who gave away Larry's address. Thank you, Mystic. It's a good job you guys know the plot. Tim, right. Tim is tied up, lying on the floor. Right. Oh, he was the leaning against the car guy, Northern. Right, I've got you. Lying on the floor. Mackie, you can't go out now, baby. The action's just getting going. Lying on the floor at the bottom of the path, back out of the quarry. But the car turned. Hang on a minute. I got so confused with who Tim is. I've lost the action now. You do need to go out there, don't you, Piglet? For a second, Leah thought that Viv would plough through Tim, and then in brackets, who is the guy that was on the leaning on the car, who was still tied up, lying on the floor at the bottom of the path, back out of the quarry. But the car turned sharply right and bounced along the rocky terrain of the bottom of this man-made canyon. Patch him up and tie him up, Leah snapped at Harry, gesturing at Gary's body. Untie Tim and get them both to a hospital. Excuse me, call my burps. Harry pushed himself up to sitting and stared blearily at Leah as she strode past them. Oh, Leah's got a right stomp on. Why is she stomping past? Where was it? Leah, what are you doing? I'm going to get our dog. I imagine at this point, like her shirt or whatever she's wearing has become ripped and she's looking all a bit dusty and fighty. Leah reached into her pocket and pulled out the key that had been in there since she promised herself they wouldn't lose it again. With a click, the camper van unlocked and Leah slipped into the driver's seat. Leah, you can't be serious, stammered Harry. We just need. Whatever it was Harry thought they just needed, Leah didn't hear as the camper van engine roared into life and she accelerated away in a cloud of quarry dust. The camper van rumbled over the uneven ground to the soundtrack of pots and pans clattering about in the living area behind Leah. She was laser focused as she guided the camper, screeching around corners and through stone arches. She soon caught sight of Viv's 4x4 up ahead. Leah was gaining on her. Oh my goodness, there's a car chase. Is it a car chase? Is one of them is a camper van? A camper car chase. I guess the car is the thing being chased. Does it have to be a car that's chasing it? Who knows? Viv's lifts home were always painfully slow. This totally tracked. Viv pulled up alongside the 4x4 and her eyes met with Viv's for the first time. It turned out that Viv's "you're late back from your lunch break" scowl was identical to her "you're ruining my evil plan to steal data from your dog's microchip" scowl. Van Diesel. It's very good, Mystic. It's very good. Pull over, Viv, shouted Leah. I'm imagining her leaning out of the window of the car. In response, Viv lurched her 4x4 roughly into the side of the camper van. The sudden impact nearly sent Leah into an outcrop of rock, and she had to slow and pull in behind Viv as they emerged onto a road with a severe drop to one side as they pushed deeper into the quarry. Leah was considering ramming into the back of her when Florence's little furry face appeared at the caged back window of the 4x4. Despite herself, Viv made a silly face at the dog before refocusing on the task at hand. Now, at the lowest point of the quarry, Viv's car swerved into an open cave mouth up ahead. There's a cave, guys! The roof of the 4x4 was millimeters away from scraping along the low rocky ceiling. Leah was about to give chase when her spatial reasoning kicked in and screeched to a halt before the massive camper van was ripped apart with her inside it. Viv's car accelerated away into darkness. Leah would have to approach on foot. Oh my God. Um, that's that's terrifying. It was dark and it was damp. The cave wound down and round for 5 minutes of careful, phone torch lit walking before the abandoned 4x4 came into view. Front door and boot wide open. Its inhabitants long gone. The only way they could have gone was down a tunnel just big enough for a person to fit. Leah squeezed her way down the tunnel, pushing herself past sharp rocks and crawling through the tightest gaps. Viv would have been dragging a dog down here. She couldn't be that far ahead, could she? Her heart sank when she came to the dead end. The tunnel had gotten tighter and tighter, and eventually it petered out to nothing. It didn't make sense. This was, oh, my dad's screensaver just kicked in, and my sister's French bulldog is now staring at me. Hello, Noot Patoot. Where were we? I'll just go back to the top of that page because I have no memory of where we were. The tunnel had gotten tighter and tighter, and eventually it petered out to nothing. Yeah, it didn't make sense. Yeah, we know this. It didn't make sense. This was the only way they could have come. It's not like they came back past me, Leah thought as she slumped against the rock. She breathed heavily on the verge of tears. Ruff! That was rubbish. Woof! A bark and another. Florence was nearby and scared. Leah started to scrabble at the walls near her. Was there some crevice she had missed? Her fingers ran over an oddly smooth area of stone, and she quickly turned her torch on the area to investigate. Where'd she get a torch from? On I suppose they had torches, didn't they, when they were walking for the camera? You're good, Tom. You're very good. Love you. On the flat bit of wall, there was one tiny indentation, about the size of a 10-pence piece, but in a unique shape. Ooh. She fled to a cave by the lake. Leah said aloud, No, wait. No, that's Leah saying that. Yeah, okay. She fled to a cave by the lake, Leah said aloud. What is happening now? Oh, Tom, what have you done? To mourn the death of her one true love. Oh, Ceridwen. Leah's hand slammed into her jacket pocket and fumbled out the locket. Accidental rhyme. Her fingers quivered as she brought it up to the hole in the wall. A thief stole your locket, a piece of your heart. You can rest now. I have brought it back to you. The locket didn't fit, like, at all. Leah was secretly very glad that no one had seen that happen. What was it about this witch thing that she couldn't let go? That was a good twist there, Tom. Another bark pulled her attention upwards. Directly upwards? Above her, hidden in shadow, was a shaft with a rope ladder tucked up into it. Reaching up, she managed to knock the ladder free and it clattered down into place. On one of its lowest rungs, a uniquely shaped latch, about the size of a 10-pence piece, meant she could attach it to the wall for an easier climb. She did so. Climbing rope ladders is harder than they make it look in movies. But then, so too, Leah had recently learned, were high speed car chases, knife fights, and finding a relationship that just made sense all of the time. Leah pulled herself from the top of the ladder into a chamber with lit with electric light. Heavy laden bookshelves and unidentifiable scientific equipment were crammed in amongst the rocks. What the hell is happening? Have we found like a secret lair in a cave in a quarry? Mad. Florence's barks filled the air. Leah kept low and moved quietly between a bookshelf full of old maps and a large beeping machine that Leah thought had probably come off a submarine. Yeah, you need submarine equipment in caves, in quarries. I know. Between the stacks and apparatus, Leah could see Viv. Oh no, stood over an operating table where Florence was strapped down, barking and struggling against her restraints. Oh no. What was Viv? Somerset, wasn't she? Hush, little doggy, said Viv in a mock soothing tone. It'll be all over soon. I did try and find a way to get the data off the chip without killing you, but it seemed really complicated. Viv pulled a spinning buzzsaw from underneath the table. It whirred furiously in her hands, and this seemed so simple. Viv began to lower the spinning blade I hate this, towards Florence's quivering body. Leah had to do something, but with what? Tom, I swear, if you hurt this dog, I'll be livid. Um, so, um, oh no. I'm not going to even look at the options because I don't want to influence I'm not going to look at the results of the options because I don't want to influence the way I read them to you. Um, okay, so genuine peril, David. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the Dewey Decimal System's involved. Rowan's laughing, but Rowan's quietly confident that Florence isn't going to die. I don't think Tom would hurt a dog. Would you, babe? Well, anyway. So, what does Leah use to stop Viv? We all know that the dog can't die at the end. So, what does she use? Does she use a book? Knowledge is power, and books are heavy. Does she use the locket? I believe in the power of Ceridwen. I do, I do, I do. Or does she use words? Words are all I have to take your heart away. Were you a bit bored this afternoon, babes? Okay, so your options for what she saves Florence with, because do all of them save Florence? Oh no. Okay. Oh, okay. So those are your options. Let's see what happens. Kay says if the dog dies, I'm not going to the noise show next week. Tom, you might have tanked the noise's career here. Uh-oh. So, well, I mean, it's not Tom's fault if you pick the wrong one. You've got to see what you can do. So your options are a book, the locket, or words. And next week I will write the chapter. I absolutely promise, unless I can't be bothered, and then Tom will. No, I'm joking. Maybe we'll write it together. That would be fun, wouldn't it? But those are your options. Tune in next week for the thrilling denouement of probably the maddest story that a book club has ever produced. But until then, thank you ever so much for coming along, you lovely lot. You are the most wonderful people on planet Earth. And I hope you have a lovely, lovely week. And I will see you next week. Mwah! Lots of love. Goodbye.